Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. This is your match preview for Arsenal versus Manchester United in the Premier League. And this is the biggest game of the season so far. Really is. It's the first big game for Manchester United in the Premier League. The first real test. Well, obviously, look, Man United have been tested, in every game so far because their performances haven't been that good. But, look, Arsenal, the old enemy, you would have to say. I hate Arsenal personally, so this is always a big game for me every season. You join me from France, not in the usual setup, so I'm away for a few days, but look, we persist and we get the videos done and dusted. But yeah, look, going to run through a couple of topics that I want to talk about because, obviously Manchester United, off at the back of a very good comeback, you would say, against Nottingham Forest on the weekend, very, very poor in relation to giving 2 goals away so quickly and so easily. But then, showing great character and great resilience to just stick with the game plan throughout the entirety of the 90 minutes or I think it was 100 and something minutes really at the end, wasn't it? But getting the job done nonetheless. So look, we go into this game, couple of different talking points I want to talk about. I'll keep it quick today. But first and foremost is defence. Now we have said in previous match previews, so already this season that, on the back end of last season and on the basis of, I suppose, the entirety of the season, Manchester United's defence was solid and it gave us that kind of platform and base to go on and win games. Now, we've been conceding goals so far this season and, we scored 3 goals last week, which was brilliant. Before that, we were struggling. We scored 1 goal in 2 games. It was from a defender. We'll get into that in a minute. But I suppose the main talking point now for this game coming up is the fact that Raphael Varane is injured. I'm going to do a separate video on Varane and discuss his injury woes in depth because I think there is something there that we do need to talk about. But in terms of this game, it's going to be a huge loss for United. Look, he's injury prone, of course he is. But he's also a top class defender when he is fit and playing well for us. So he's going to be a huge loss to Manchester United coming into this game. It's probably going to be Victor Lindelof that's going to come in for him. Obviously we've seen last season even the likes of Luke Shaw coming in and playing centre back, but of course he's injured as well. So both Shaw and Varane out is going to be a big loss for Manchester United. It's going to be a makeshift defence. You're probably going to have the likes of Delors. Now, there is a report suggesting that United are potentially going to get the Cucurella deal done before the game on Sunday, so he could potentially be available as well. Again, I'm recording this before the deal is done, so if that's the case, then okay. But we did see Diogo Delors play there, and he played there a couple of times last season as well. So United's defence is, I suppose, stretched thin. It's probably... I'll do my predicted 11 in a few minutes, but yeah, it is a concern. It is a concern. Now, I also want to talk about the forward line as well because, look, we scored 3 goals last week against Nottingham Forest, but yet this season, none of our forward players have scored. Bruno Fernandes scored on the weekend. I would probably be classing him as a central midfielder, more than number 10. But them 3 across the top, you're talking Rashford, you're talking Anthony, you're talking Sancho, Garnacho, these types of players, were yet to get a goal from the forward line. So that's a concern. Now, is Rasmus Højlund going to be ready for the weekend? We'll find out. Obviously Erik ten Hag will be doing his interview in the coming days, his pre-match interview. So let's hope he is ready because we are desperate for goals in that forward line. Look, I think Marcus Rashford played well last week. Anthony had slight improvements on these first 2 games as well. So look, I think goals are what's most important out of our forward line. If you give me bad performances out of our 3 forwards, their all-round game was poor, but they chipped in with a goal or 2, say 2 goals in every 4 games, I would be happy, no problem. Because the forward line, their job is to score goals more than anything else. Let's hope Rasmus Højlund is fit, he's ready to play. If he is, it's probably not going to be 90 minutes. Do you start him? Do you maybe bring him on in the second half? Ten Hag likes to make substitutions around the 60-minute mark. So let me know what you think. Would you prefer to start him if he's fit, or would you prefer to bring him on as an impact sub? Me personally, I would like to see him start. I would like to see us get goals up rather than potentially chasing games come later in 60 minutes, 70 minutes, so on. I would rather get a 1-2 goal lead and protect that going forward. Because, look, we've seen conceding goals, chasing games in the second half. Last week against Spurs, even against Wolves in the first game of the season when it was 0-0, you're chasing the game. I would prefer to, if Rasmus Højlund is fit, start him. Let's get a couple of goals up, and then let's try and maybe see out the game, or, control the game a little bit more. So that's going to be an interesting one. Let me know what you would do in the comment section below. Right, let's talk about predicted 11 here, and this is the 11 that I would like to see, basically. And look, there can be some alterations here, depending on, your own personal preference. Let me know yours in the comment section below. But look, we're starting with the back four, back five. I think it's pretty straightforward. For me, Onana in goal, Wan-Bissaka stays at right back, Dalot at left back, and then Lindelof comes in instead of course, Varane, who's injured, alongside Martinez. Now, look, again, we did mention already that we could have signed a left back by the time Sunday comes around. You would hope so, given the fact that the transfer window will be closed by then. So, yeah, look, I think so far this is the starting 11 that I was going with. Do you bring Cucurella in if he does sign and put him straight in at left back, given the fact that he hasn't played a lot of football all season, even last season with Chelsea? For that reason, I think this is is probably the strongest back four, back five. But again, like I said, let me know, what you think in the comment section below. I think the midfield pretty much picks itself. Midfield three: Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, and Bruno Fernandes. Of course, Mason Mount is out injured as well. We do know that. But again, look, we've seen this midfield three work, quite well last season, throughout the majority of the season. Again, there could be an argument there to bring in a more defensive type of player. Maybe a Scott McTominay. If we do sign somebody like an Amrabat before the transfer window closes, you never know. It probably is not going to happen by the looks of it. But look, I would be happy with this midfield. We beat Arsenal at Old Trafford with this midfield last season, and we, of course, we did lose at the Emirates as well with it. But look, I think it's good enough. But again, let me know what you think. Would you prefer to see a more defensive style player come in there in the midfield? Because if it is, it's going to be Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay coming in with limited game time so far this season, and then playing at the Emirates, it's not going to be an easy task. So let me know what you think. Forward line then, guys. This forward line, this all depends on the fitness of the striker. Does Rasmus Højlund come back? Is he fit? If he is, this is the forward line that I would go with. I would go with Rasmus Højlund up front. I would go with Marcus Rashford on the left, and I would bring in Jadon Sancho on the right. I think it's time for Anthony to take a seat and give Sancho a go, because he's played well in pre-season. He's played relatively well in the cameo roles that he's played so far, coming on or coming off the bench. So I would go with that. Of course, then you've got Anthony on the bench, you've got Garnacho on the bench, you've got Anthony Martial on the bench then as well. So look, I think this starting 11 is more than capable of going to the Emirates and getting a result if we put in a good performance. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Right, score prediction then. I mean, look, this is a difficult one because you just don't know what type of Manchester United team are going to show up on the day. We know Arsenal obviously dropped points on the weekend against Fulham, so they're going to either want to put amends to that, or maybe on the flip side of it, are they going to be lacking a bit of confidence? You wouldn't know. Manchester United showed great resolve coming back against Nottingham Forest, but our performances haven't been spectacular. So if I'm going with a score prediction, I think it's going to be a tight enough game. I really do. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. And look, I would be really happy with getting out of the Emirates with a point. I really would. I think it would be a really good point for Manchester United, given the injuries that we have: Varane, Shaw, Mason Mount. So yeah, I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Let me know your score prediction in the comment section below. Please do smash a like on the video, hit subscribe. We'll be back for the watch along on Sunday for the game. Really looking forward to it. Hope to see you there, and I'll chat to you soon.